guys, welcome back to another episode of the Sconni Sports Show. I'm your host, MD Lovelace.
Jeff Bryce.
So, Jeff, we spoke to a pal of ours a while back, obviously one of our best friends of the show, Montel Quick Jackson. This week we're bringing in a teammate of his, and I say this with all kindness, but she could beat the hell out of both of us.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
Coming out, we have Nidas, and it's Nidas, not Midas. I screwed this up, and I literally thought I was going to get punched through the face through the Facebook land. But yeah, Leah was a contestant as well on one of the last episodes or seasons of the Ultimate Fighter as well. Did pretty well, battling some health stuff, which we'll talk about here briefly. But yeah, Leah Letson from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Leah, thanks for coming on tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. We were just joking before we came on air here. God, it feels like we've been connected for like, what, 6-8 years now, probably?
I was like 6 or 7, yeah.
Yeah, we've been picking on Leah this whole time. We were going to try and get her up for a game. So, Jeff, our goal next year, whenever the hell COVID lifts, we're taking Leah Montel to a game.
Yeah, definitely. That'd be fun.
That would be awesome.
Solo, sorry to tell you, they will be cheating like hell on their diet that game or that week. You'll just back up and get over it, my friend. But we are going to get these guys a full game experience for sure.
Be nice to get back to Pura Vida and interview a couple of you guys down there.
Yeah. Leah, there's an open challenge. Jeff says he can kick the hell out of you and Montel, so we were waiting.
I did not say that. No.
No.
That's what it.
You're welcome to come try at the gym anytime.
Oh man, no.
I still need Jeff sometimes. Somebody's got to take the sarcasticness, from us. So I still need to keep Jeff whole for the most part if we can.
The son tried that last night with the water mug last night. He threw it when I wasn't looking and hit my eye and got a black eye.
So what he's saying is he has a fragile physique. So please break him immediately. So Leah, you've been kind of getting into this fighting thing for a long time now. Obviously, so we've been connected as long as you've been fighting. But walk me through kind of the here I go moment or the here I want to do this for a living. Like, how do you even approach? What was your family's impact? Because I can only imagine mine would be like, good, you're going to get your ass kicked. What was your initial your family?
Surprisingly, my mom was like extremely supportive and excited. Actually, both my parents were. My dad was actually more scared than my mom was when I first told them that I was going to fight.
That's a fatherly love.
Yeah.
Leah, my oldest is a girl, so I'm the same way. If little Kylie you've seen Kylie's pictures before. If little Kylie decided, hey, I'm a UFC fighter, first of all, I'm going to be like, honey, you're afraid of a fly. Second of all, you're breaking your face. So I'm right there with your dad on that one. We always worry about it.
To be fair to your daughter, I'm terrified of bees. So, but yet I can climb in a cage and fight someone.
We know her weakness now, Jeff. Just carry your pocket full of bees and you will survive a Leah Letson beatdown.
A bee mascot.
All right, Leah. So how did you get your start in the sport and what kind of got you into it?
Actually, I got my start let's say 7 years now. I was in college and I was taking cardio kickboxing class to get in shape for Air Force basic training. And the two instructors that came and taught my second cardio kickboxing class were Jake and Zach, and they were already the owners of Pura Vida, and they saw that I had some talent and that I loved kickboxing, so they invited me to come try the gym. And so I tried the gym. I fell in love with jiu-jitsu right away, and then when I got back from Air Force basic training and tech school and all that, I started training with the fight team. And about a month and a half later, Jake calls me up on a Friday night. He's like, pack your bags, you're fighting tomorrow night. So on less than 24 hours notice, I packed my bags and went up to Kashina, and I fought on one of the King of the Cages shows up there. And it's on an Indian reservation, so it's not regulated. So I was able to fight on less than 24 hours notice. And I won the fight by TKO in the first round. And I walked out of the cage and I literally said, I want to do this for a living. I want to be in the UFC. and now here I am. So
Nice.
Yeah, I would walk into the cage at first and go, "Is this for real?" And I would probably get my ass beat. So, you and being able to do that. I remember talking not long after that. That's yeah, Kashina's not far from me. That's about 20 minutes up the road. So, feel free to take any Kashina fights you want because that's right up the road from us and saves me a drive. But
I don't know if I'll ever be fighting there again.
we'll leave it at that. We might try and get one of those guys as a show sponsor. So.
Yeah.
Anybody can be a sponsor if the price is right. No. So, Leah, did you grow up watching the sport at all, or was it just that random phone call that you got? Or
No, I actually didn't even know what MMA was or jiu-jitsu was until I met Jake and Zach. I didn't even know what jiu-jitsu was until my first day of jiu-jitsu. I showed up there for an open workout, and Zach taught me how to do a rear naked choke, and then he's like, "So do you want to roll?" And I was like, "What does that mean?" And so I just then I mean, we rolled and I figured it out, and I was like, wow, this is awesome. I want to figure this out. And so I fell in love with it the first day.
Nice.
So, I'm sure you hear this question a lot, Leah, but you know I gotta ask it. You're rolling around with a bunch of sweaty boys. Do they ever seem to get the wrong idea or take you too lightly, or?
So usually the first day that a guy walks in with an ego, Jake will send them over to roll with me, and one of two things happens. They'll either get really angry and then never come back to the gym, or they will be like, okay, I gotta figure this out, and then they get hooked too. And then yeah, it's kind of fun to roll with guys on their first day because they usually don't think that a woman can beat them, and it's a lot of fun showing them that I can.
Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up because I've heard some stories already, but I want you to share with us your favorite beatdown story that
Yeah.
I think my favorite beatdown story was a guy came in. He was a high school wrestler, and well, he was a high school wrestler like a year prior. He was out of high school at this point, and he had a huge ego. And I remember rolling with him, and I ended up choking him out approximately 5 times in 5 minutes. And I remember him getting so frustrated and so mad and trying to like take his anger out on me and use his muscle, but like with technique you can outmuscle anyone. So I kept submitting him, and I don't think he ever came back to the gym after that day.
Nice.
I think if I got choked out 5 times in anything, I think I would never come back, Leah. So I don't think it had anything to do just with you.
I think once is enough.
Where do I tap out here would be my first question. Like, all right, cool. So do I get my deposit back? Yeah. Nice. So what was your first day like in the gym? I know you talked a little bit about it, but did the nerves just kind of take over? Was it a pretty quick adjustment for you? What was your first day like?
I was really nervous at first, but once Zach's, me and my friend from cardio kickboxing actually went to the gym together, so I wasn't completely alone when I first went to the gym, and it was just us two and Zach for the first half hour that we were there. And Zach did a really good job of teaching us the rear naked choke, like I said, and then we started rolling, and I was like, oh my god, this is so much fun. And then when other people showed up, I was rolling with them, and I instantly was comfortable with it, and I loved it. So I always wanted to get better and figure out how to not keep getting submitted over and over again. So for like the first hour, I was rolling back and forth between Jake and Zach. So I was just getting my ass kicked for an hour straight.
Speaking of that, we saw a yard nurse down there that she was just going against those guys, and her head just going back and back. And I'm like, oh, I feel so sorry for her. Oh, I forget what her name was. What was her name, MD?
You know me and names, man. I struggle all the time. So
She was taking it. She had a bloody nose and her head. Oh man! And the guys came back and said, actually, she's going to be a really, really good fighter. I think it was like Britta or something, or Bree. I don't know.
I don't know. We suck with names. You can't tell, Leah. Don't.
It might have been Brenna, and she's actually a doctor.
Brenna, that's what it was.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it was pretty crazy. You're like, yeah, she's only a couple weeks in, and she's like beating the piss out of everybody around her, and she took everything with a grain of salt. So Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing we noticed during our interview with Montel and with Solo, and just everybody down there, just how instant of a support and family you guys become down there, which is pretty crazy because you think you're pounding the crap out of each other. There's going to be more hate than anything. And yeah, I think everybody right there just literally, and I hate to say it in a cliche way, but rolls with the punches, so to speak, while they're down there. So pretty neat.
Yeah, that's why I fell in love with the gym in the first place. It was like a big extended family. I mean, we were all friends and we all get along, and the gym has grown so much. So it's really cool to see how much the family has grown. And I call it a family because we've all been, like, especially the fight team has all been pretty supportive of each other all along the way.
You definitely tell that when we were there, that everybody's just got everybody's back, and they're trying to improve everybody else. They're teaching each other moves, and even when one person is just absolutely getting their butt kicked, another guy's coming in, hey, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. It's cool to see that you guys are all teammates and trying to learn from each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like the most, is it's very supportive. So
yeah,
I feel like I can go there, and even if I'm having a bad day, one of my teammates will come talk to me afterwards and kind of cheer me up, especially O'Day Osborne. He's had my back since day one.
Nice.
So you mentioned your friend came with you day one. Did they make it out alive, or were they like a one day and no go again?
Yeah, she stuck to cardio kickboxing after that. She had fun, but grappling wasn't really her thing.
To the fitness philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So I have to pick on you a little bit. Have you ever had to close down the gym at the end of the day? Because we saw Montel do it, and I won't give away the secrets, but I can see where the hell speed training comes from.
I have had to close down the gym several times, yes.
Yeah, that's why you guys are so damn fast, because that is a process. He goes, you want to see something cool? Throws me away, and then all of a sudden, like, yeah.
Tuck and roll, he said. He goes, tuck and roll.
The high-tech security system, man, but that was hilarious, man. Yeah, the one thing I love about you guys is, like I said, not only are you guys welcoming within your own group, but the way that, like Jeff said, you guys welcomed us. Again, I have my kids along. Just welcomed everybody with open arms. Again, the video I put up on Tell Wrestling with Camden was like one of the top viewed videos we ever had out there. So it says a lot, and nothing was off limits. That's one thing I love about our UFC interviews that we do so far. There isn't I don't want to talk about it, I'm sensitive. Everyone's like, what do you want to know? So it's pretty neat because, again, you get to the NFL world or NBA world or certain things and a lot of taboo topics, or guys just want to get into bad history they've had or things like that. I mean, we've been pretty lucky so far, I think, Jeff, with some of the stories we've gotten out of guys just because of the friendships we've had built prior. But I think in a lot of today's, again, when we go to the NFL world, and Leah, I'm sure you can agree, as we were talking about off air, there's a lot of oversensitivity right now going on. Obviously not just in the football world, but I think the world in general right now. And all I have to say is we're filming this obviously early. I can't wait till the election results are finally a week's past, or by this point, we're calling in on behalf of Leah to come save our asses from all the crazies.
Yeah.
I know where I'm going to hide out in case of a zombie apocalypse, and I know where I'm going to go the nut jobs start looting. I'm going down to Pura Vida, and I'm going to stay safe.
Yeah. Packing the family and going.
We got big enough vehicles now. We'll pick everybody up and carpool for sure. So Leah, you got how many fights did you have in before the UFC call came in?
I was 4-1, I believe.
Jeez.
4-1.
It's so crazy how that can happen.
Yeah.
Wow. Now,
the fight that I had before I got called was the Invicta fight where I knocked the girl out with a head kick, and that was when
I watched. That was
I
awesome.
got the call next. So yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine any person, let alone another female, kicking another female's head almost clean off her shoulders is pretty damn impressive. So
yeah.
So we heard Montel's first phone call they got about the welcome to the UFC fight. It wasn't even him. Like I said, he was trying to have the other guy sign for it. Did you actually get the call directly in this case, or was that same instance of somebody else got the call and you're just like, yeah, man, whatever, just do it? Like, how did that go?
Jake actually got the call, and I was at the gym. I was going to the gym to train. I had no idea what was happening, and all of a sudden Jake calls me in the other room, and he's like, "Leah, come here." And I was like, "What? I'm busy. I'm doing something." He's like, "Come here right now." so I so I went in the other room, and he shut the door, and he put it on speakerphone, and it was Mick Maynard from the UFC, and I couldn't even control myself. I was like trying not to fangirl all over the phone. I was so excited. Then he was telling me about the matchup, and he's like, "Do you want to do this?" And I was like, yeah, I do."
Nice.
So what was the next step in that process? Did you have a pretty long, again, I know the story, but I want to share it with the viewers out there. Did you have a pretty long, or at least more than a day's notice in this case?
Yeah, I did.
Did you have going into the fight, and how much did you know about your opponent going into it?
Let's see. Well, the process was I had to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and then I think I was going to have about three or 4 weeks notice. So that was the original plan. And then I knew a lot about my opponent, Yana Kunitsukaya, but the problem is that fight ended up falling through because she ended up fighting Cyborg that time. So we ended up not fighting, and I was still signed to the UFC, so I was just staying ready. And then a couple months later, they called me and they asked me if I wanted to do the Ultimate Fighter TV show, and so I accepted that. And then that's what I did the summer of 2018. And I was filming the Ultimate Fighter TV show, and then when I got back from that, the finale for the Ultimate Fighter was my actual UFC debut. So my original UFC debut kind of fell apart, and then I had it about 6 months later.
Oh. So how does that work when that stuff falls apart? Like, is it just kind of a, hey, tough luck and that's it? Or is it like a, hey, we'll still compensate you because you put in all the time and energy for it? I mean, it's tough to...
There's no financial compensation for it, really.
Wow.
Is everything okay down there, Jeff?
No, it's my son.
Okay.
He has tonsils out, so.
Your story, Leah, and he got motivated to punch his dad in the other eye.
Okay, so I didn't get any financial compensation for it or anything, but they did say that they were going to try to find me another fight, and then they were having a hard time finding another 145 female, because this was back when the very first 145 division was starting for the females, so there really wasn't anyone for me to fight. So that's why they offered me the spot on the Ultimate Fighter TV show, and we decided that that was a good idea anyway, because it got a fan base and they got to know me a little bit, and I got to knock some ring rust off because I had been deployed the year prior. So I got to have some exhibition fights while on the show and knock that ring rust off before my actual UFC debut. So it actually turned out to be for the best that I got to do the Ultimate Fighter.
Right. So how close are you guys in the UFC itself? I mean, did you ever get a chance to talk to your first opponent, or did you ever pick the brain of like a Cyborg or any of that? Like, do you guys actually get to stay in touch, or is it just more of a, hey, show up, kick the crap out of each other, see you later, do some press in between?
I mean, I've never met Cyborg, and I've met Yana at the Performance Institute when I'm out there, but we don't really talk to each other or anything. I've met a few UFC fighters, and I train at Syndicate MMA out in Las Vegas sometimes, and they have several UFC fighters out there, so I keep in contact with all of them. But for the most part, I pretty much just know my teammates, and that's about it.
Nice. Jeff, we were just going to pick on you this whole show, man, because
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry.
The whole time.
Yeah.
Jeff, there's always mute. It's okay, then it won't go to you. Zoom 101 all over again. It's not even our guests we got to worry about. It's our darn co-hosts all the time.
I'm sorry, Leah.
It's okay.
Usually he's sleeping, but he's kind of wired on this medicine right now, so it's kind of.
Anyway, doesn't that just make you want kids tomorrow? No.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
I'm sorry.
Uh, Leah, growing up in Milwaukee, what was that like for you? I mean, were you kind of always wanting to venture away? Obviously, I know you spent a lot of time, like you said, in Vegas training as well. And then obviously being deployed a little bit. Did it ever make you kind of want to just be up and out of Milwaukee? Is Milwaukee, like Montel said, always just going to be home? What's your thought process there?
So I actually didn't grow up in Milwaukee. I grew up in Janesville, Wisconsin, and then I moved to Milwaukee to go to college, and then I just stayed here because I discovered the gym here. So
Nice.
I grew up in Janesville, and I knew that I wanted to get out of there. Not that there's anything wrong with Janesville. I like big cities, and I will never live anywhere smaller than Milwaukee. So I'm very much a city girl.
You're currently in Milwaukee now, obviously, then?
Yeah.
Oh, nice, nice. How long have you been there?
About 10 years now. Yeah, I moved out when I was 18 and went to college, and then I just stayed here after I graduated. So I've been here for about 10 years. I like it here. Honestly, I wish it was a little bit warmer. I hate winter. I'm very much a summer girl, but
I hear you.
it's kind of the perfect distance between my parents and myself. So it's like an hour and 15-minute drive. So I can go home whenever I want, and but yet I get to get away from Janesville, that small town life, and live in the bigger city.
It's funny.
Nice.
It sounds like it's so far away to us. Milwaukee and Janesville are almost the same damn thing anyway. I have no idea what the difference. Whatever. It's down south. It's like saying Green Bay and DaBears is so different. It's all the same damn thing, Leah. Let's not get technical today.
You better watch out. She'll come get you a rear naked chokehold.
Cocky. We see him. Don't kill me. That's all right. My kids would let it happen. They'd encourage it to happen, so it's okay. Jeff, same, so don't act like you're any better. All of our kids would be like, yeah, choke out our dads. Great. And once, like, all right, does dad have money in the wallet? And that's it. So, no. So, Leah, what prompted you to join the Air Force?
Well, I kind of always liked the idea of serving my country and giving back and making a difference somehow. And my grandpa was in the Marines, the Army, and the Navy, so I kind of just rounded it out by going into the Air Force. And I liked the idea of the Wisconsin Air National Guard because I could go to school full time and live a civilian life and then also be in the military and like serve my country at the same time. So it's kind of like a good compromise where I got to do both.
So what was your specialty? Or you're still in, right? If I remember.
Yeah, I'm still in. I've been in for 9 years now, so.
Nice. So what full vest?
Send you off anywhere?
What?
They have to send you off anywhere?
Yeah, I did get deployed to the Middle East 3 years ago, and then this year I was working on the COVID response team all summer, basically, all over the state, doing the COVID testing. So yeah, I've been activated this year for the first time ever for state active duty. It's been crazy.
I bet.
So what is your specialty in the military then, Leah?
It's kind of a mouthful. So I'm a command and control battle management operator. Basically, so air traffic control takes planes off and lands them. The command and control team does all of the controlling of aircraft in between. So the weapons directors basically tell pilots where to go and what to do, and then I am making sure that everyone can communicate with each other and all of the data links and stuff are set up, and I also help work on the radars and stuff too. So it's kind of hard to explain, but basically we do control of aircraft in the sky. So when we were deployed, we were in charge of the entire airspace over the Middle East.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty technical.
Okay. So is it safe to say, Leah, the UFC is kind of a nice getaway from all that technicality and just get to release a little bit?
Actually, it's usually the other way around because I only do the Air Force thing 1 weekend a month and then 2 weeks a year normally when I'm not deployed and stuff. So So actually sometimes because I trained so much, it was a nice break to go to a drill weekend so I could get a weekend off of training.
Wow. Okay. It's saying a lot because Jeff and I being on the outside in looking at that is going to go, really? Because I had the chance to do the Army Reserves, and that was like my vacation. Because, yeah, I mean, then again, Leah will say it was Army, so I won't say anything beyond that. But I was also a truck driver, so it was pretty easy. So,
Yeah.
So growing up near the border, I guess, right? Janesville?
Yeah.
Did you ever have that maybe I should be a Bears fan thought process, or were you always green and gold till the end?
No, I'm always a Packer fan. I hate the Bears with a passion.
Well, your buddy down there, Danica Patrick, we'll just bring her up real quick. The A-Rod X, she
Yeah.
grew up on the border too, and she said, "Oh, I'm a Bears fan." So I just wanted to make sure you weren't in that same, I hate to throw you in the same sentence, but number one, I think you could kick her ass. I'm just going to throw this out there, so if anybody's watching can make this fight happen. Danica Patrick and her holiness versus Leah Letson, I'm putting my money on Leah. People, we'll make it happen. No, I think Leah's pretty confident in that one too.
Yeah.
But no, her training regime is pretty crazy. I've seen her do some stuff, and I'm like, man. I mean, watching her at CrossFit and all the crap, it's right near my office. I'd see those guys doing all that. I mean, I don't know. I don't really agree with all the CrossFit philosophy. Sorry, but some of the stuff these people do is just insane. If I were a chiropractor, I'd be at every single meet they ever have going, yep, come on. I slipped 3 discs. Let's go. So, Leah, the weirdest thing that happened that you've been a part of, like during a fight, whether it was your own fight or watching one of the other guys or gals fight, what was the weirdest thing you've ever seen happen? Could be in the backstage area because I've heard some pretty damn good stories from Montel off air last time.
You shot a nap.
Weirdest thing. I'm trying to think. I'm like drawing a blank now that you put me on the spot like that.
About your damn moment, like something that you saw you could never believe just happened.
Well, I guess I would say it didn't happen to me, but I was watching a fight and well, there's no crowds right now in the UFC, so like you can hear the commentators and everyone talking while you're fighting because it's silent in the ring, which is really awkward and weird. But I saw a fighter stop what they were doing because the commentator was talking about what they were setting up next, and they stopped and they looked at the commentator and they went like this in the middle of the fight, telling the commentator to be quiet. So that's probably the weirdest thing I've ever seen happen.
Yeah, that would definitely be weird. All right. Not even sure where to go from that one. That's wild nights. Okay, so we got that. What about best knockout of all time, whether it be yourself or someone else? How would you rate the best knockout you've ever seen?
I'm going to have to go with myself because it was my favorite fight ever when I knocked out Liz Phillips in my Invicta debut. And it made number 6 knockout in Invicta history. So that's probably my favorite knockout ever because, I mean, I did that and that's what got me into the UFC. So that was a pretty exciting fight.
Nice. Wasn't there a guy from Milwaukee had that kick from around the world or something? They had you had to rename it or something?
Oh, that was Anthony Pettis, I think.
Yeah, Pettis. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was nasty too.
Oh, yeah.
So did you ever get a chance to roll around with Pettis? Because I know he's not at the same gym though, right? I know he's also from Milwaukee, but I couldn't remember if he was the same group or not.
No, he trains at Rufus Sport, so we never really cross train with them.
Okay.
They're kind of rival gyms, I guess.
Nice.
I mean, there's no like animosity or anything. It's just like there's two top MMA gyms in Milwaukee, and he's at the other one. So
Hang on now, Jeff. So I got this really great idea right now, and Lee already knows where I'm going. Solo tomorrow. I think we see if we can get some interdisciplinary scrimmaging going on. I think that'd be awesome. Montel and Anthony, that could be
as long as I'm behind the cage.
Not for us. Get your mind out of it. No, just kidding. Yeah, obviously, like I said, yeah, it's really neat to see though, because you look at where UFC has come, and it's always been the bigger cities. You know, here the Vegas, the LAs, the Arizonas, especially. You don't hear a lot of Milwaukee now. In the last probably 5-10 years, Milwaukee's really taken a pretty big role with creating some of the best fighters. So pretty neat considering, you know, our guest last week just knew us for our cheese curds and beer. So it's really that we got some people that can kick some ass too in a way.
yeah, I think it's really cool that we have such a big MMA scene in Milwaukee. Like I feel like there's a ton of MMA gyms and jiu-jitsu gyms around the Milwaukee area, and there's a lot of like UFC fighters around this area, and you wouldn't think that being Milwaukee, because it's not, you know, as big as like LA or Las Vegas is for fighting, you know, but there's a lot of high-level MMA fighters around here.
So what do you think contributes to that success of Milwaukee? Is it the city itself? Is it there's not, you know, like you said, in other big cities, so to speak, there's not a whole lot to do. I mean, not a lot of people even know about, like you said yourself, not many people even know UFC guys exist down in Milwaukee. When Jeff and I first announced our first show, people are going, we have UFC people in Wisconsin? Where? You know, that was kind of the first reaction we got, or people had never heard of them. And then all of a sudden we put their names out there and it kind of took off, which is pretty neat.
Yeah, I don't really know why it's like such a big thing in Milwaukee. I guess it's the biggest city in Wisconsin, so it makes sense that all of the MMA talent would find its way down here because there's so many gyms and stuff down here. But I also think that wrestling is such a big thing in the Midwest in general and in Wisconsin, and wrestling is a huge attribute to have in MMA. So if you're a really good high school or college wrestler and you go into MMA, like you're probably going to have a lot of success.
Well, yeah, that was, I know Montel talked a lot about that. You know, he grew up as a wrestler, qualified for, or almost qualified for the Olympics. And that's kind of how he got his start. So it's cool to see how these guys are so good. Like you said, Jake and Zach and everybody down there are so good at plucking people from different avenues that wouldn't be like I just want to be a UFC fighter coming in. It seems like those are the ones that fail first. So it's really cool that these guys have such a keen eye for talent. You know, and they had pretty good success themselves as well for fighters too. I mean, your coaches aren't slouches either. I know they do a lot of cool things as well from watching some of their fights as we've gone on. So,
yeah, I know my coaches aren't slouches. They beat me up all the time.
Right. Okay. So if you could pick a fighter of anyone of all time, male or female, who would you love to mix it up with and try and take them out?
I want Amanda Nunes just because she was the first female to hold the 135 and 145 belt, and I wanted to be that person. So, and she's still the champ. So if I could fight anyone, I would fight her because I want that belt.
There you go.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
Well, yeah, any other exclusives you want to put on the Sconni Sports Show? Because this is great advertising for us, by the way. If you need some backup agents, hey, we're always available for you. We'll pump up all the PR you need. We'll make your fight bids, and we'll get you all set. Leah, walk me through. We're going to go back again to the show. What was your expectation versus reality going into that format for yourself?
I really didn't know what to expect because I'd never been on a reality TV show before. And what actually happened was, I mean, I expected it to be a lot of like fake drama, but they really didn't like fake any drama. They just edit things to make it look more dramatic than it was in real life sometimes. So like it was really weird watching myself on TV and watching how they portrayed things to happen versus what was actually happening in real life there. It was actually it was funny, and also I got a little bit nervous before each episode because you never know how they're going to edit things to make you look bad or good or whatever. So it was a little nerve-wracking before every show aired on TV because you never know how they were going to cut and paste things and edit them into the show. So it was a cool experience, but I probably wouldn't choose to do it again just because it was really difficult to live with people that you're fighting. It's like the most awkward thing in the entire world. I've never experienced that before, and I probably will never experience that again, hopefully. But I mean, you're living
Milwaukee
in the
after
house with, yeah, you're living in the house with people that you're potentially fighting against, and it's just the night before a fight. It's just so awkward to like
walk by.
have to go in the kitchen and walk by them and like eat dinner next to them. It's so weird.
So for those that don't understand the premise of the show, Leah, why don't you describe a little bit about the experience of like what happens every week, and then I'll get into more of it from there.
Okay, so basically, they have 16 fighters locked in a house. There was 8 men and 8 women on the show, and it's like a tournament style. So each week, there was a fight between either the featherweight females or the heavyweight males. And then if you won your first fight, then you'd go on to the semifinals. And then if you won the semifinals, you went on to the finale. And the finale, you'd win a contract with the UFC, and I think it was a 6-figure contract with the UFC. So everyone was trying to fight for a 6-figure UFC contract, and you're locked in a house with these people, and you're training with your team because they split you into 2 different teams, and you don't have any technology or connection with the outside world. You're basically just cut off from society, and you're locked in a house with these people, and it's really it's so awkward.
I bet.
So when you did the show, Leah, without spoiling all of it, because I'm sure some people now will want to go back and watch some of this, were you portrayed as the evil villain, the diva, the biatch? What was your take on how they portrayed you?
I mean, they had to show me working out a lot on my own because I wasn't satisfied with Team Whitaker's coaching, and they portrayed me as like this person who just wanted the coach's attention and stuff, which was not true at all. The whole team that I was on was unsatisfied with our training because it was literally like shadow boxing and then some jiu-jitsu technique, and that was it. We weren't like allowed to spar. We didn't hit pads hardly at all. We didn't hit the bag hardly at all. So the level of training that I was getting was frustrating because it wasn't what I was used to getting. Like I was used to training hard all the time and getting actual good drills and stuff in, but we were like shadow boxing, and that was about it. So both me and my team were unsatisfied with the training, but they didn't really focus on the rest of the team. They just focused on me being unsatisfied with the training. So I'm not sure how that made me look. It probably didn't make me look good, but I mean, what can you do about it?
Just saying. Like I said, I mean, by the time
Someone that doesn't know, what is shadow boxing like?
Basically punching and kicking in the air, pretending there's an opponent in front of you and punching and kicking in the air. We didn't really hit the bag or anything. So what?
What does that even do? Like, what is the advantage of that? Like,
usually it's used for like a warm up, but that was pretty much our whole striking training. So like, yeah, we got frustrated. It was not.
That sounds frustrating.
new reality that too. Here we go, Jeff. Ready? Here we go. Oh. Look at Jeff. We have our own reality show now. Pay us. So, Leah, how'd you end up doing on the show? Again, this is 2 years ago, so I guess maybe by now people that haven't watched, too bad for them, you know. But give us a little insight on how you did with the show.
So I won my first fight, and then I went on to the semifinals, and I ended up losing the semifinal fight with Macy, she landed a clean knee to my liver, and it like kind of paralyzed me for a second. I couldn't really fight back, so I ended up losing by TKO by Macy Chiason. She was the actual winner of the show, so she beat me, and then she went on to the finale, and then she won the finale, so she ended up winning the whole thing.
So did you give her a tougher fight, or did she wipe the floor with the last gal in there? Like, do you feel like you had a chance to win it all if you would have beat her, like based on what you saw in that fight, or?
Yeah, I'm almost positive I would have won the whole show if I would have beaten her. The problem is at the end of, I mean, our fight was like the last day of filming, and I knew that after our fight we were done with the show, and we were going to get our phones back, and we were going to get to go home, and I was not really mentally in it anymore at that point. I was kind of burned out from the lack of training and the frustration with the coaches and stuff on the show, and I was just kind of sick of being filmed all the time, you know. So like I was just kind of burned out at that point. I wanted the fight to be over, and whenever you have that mentality, you're not going to perform well in the cage. So I just remember walking in there and be like, oh, I just want to get this over with. And anytime I've had that mentality, I don't usually perform to my standards. So I was definitely not mentally in that fight, and it was frustrating at the time, but I mean, everything happens for a reason, so I can't beat myself up too much about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So did the UFC ever comment back after watching the show and kind of talk to you more about that, or did they ask for your opinion about, hey, what would you have for advice for us for next time, like constructive criticism, or do they just not give a shit, collect a paycheck, and be done with it?
I mean, they pretty much just gave us our paychecks, and that was about it. They've been doing the show we were the 28th season, so I think they kind of got the feedback that they need by now.
So did you watch any of the show prior to this, or was that your first experience with the show?
I had watched a couple seasons on the UFC Fight Pass before I left. Actually, a couple years prior to leaving, I had watched a couple episodes, so I knew what the show was about. And when my coaches first called me and asked me if I wanted to be on it, my first reaction was like, I don't know about all that drama and stuff, but after we talked about it, we decided that it was actually a good idea for me to be on the show.
So you said you'd never do it again. Does that mean you're on the side of regret? Like, I wish I would have never done this. Maybe I would have gotten further in my career, or like you said, was it because of the fan base and everything it kind of made up for it?
I'm like really glad I did that. I mean, it was a great experience, and it was like, if you can go through the Ultimate Fighter, any other fight after that is way easier, because you're going to have your coaches with you. You're not going to be cut off from society. You're not going to have a camera following you around 24/7. Like, the pressure of being on the show and living in that constant stress is like, it's kind of like a boot camp for fighters. I mean, if you can make it through that, then everything else is easy. And I actually did compare it to boot camp a lot, because you are cut off from society and you don't have contact with your family or friends or coaches or anything. So if you can fight on Ultimate Fighter and get through that, then you can pretty much get through any other fight. And I'm so happy I did it, and it also created a good fan base for me. It was awesome exposure.
Did your coaches from the show ever reach back out to you, kind of talk more about anything that had happened, or was it just kind of after that they never really talked to you again thing?
No, Team Whitaker never they never talked to me again. I have talked to Calvin Gastelum. He was the coach for the red team, the other team, and he's awesome. His coaches were awesome, and if I were to reach out to him, he would still talk to me and stuff. So yeah, Calvin Gastelum was great. He was an awesome coach on the show. Even though he wasn't my coach, he was still really cool with the rest of us.
So you didn't have a way to like option out a trade or anything, huh?
I actually talked about that, and a lot of the season did focus on that, and they called me Team Purple because I was on the blue team, but I talked to everyone on the red team, and I was very close to switching over to the red team, but I ended up staying on the blue team, but they called me Team Purple. So yeah, I did consider switching.
Nice.
So there's just so many ways to go with that one, but I don't know which way I should go. Since the show, what have you been up to obviously it's been a couple years. I mean, what have you been up to since that point?
Um, Honestly, I've been struggling with a lot of health issues. So for years, I had been overtraining and undereating, and really, really tough weight cuts took a toll on my body, and my thyroid shut down. My organs were shutting down, basically. I was like struggling really bad. I couldn't even stay awake for a whole day. I knew something was wrong, and so I went to the doctor, and they told me that my thyroid function was like non-existent, and so I ended up working with a specialist out in Pennsylvania. His name is Dr. Eric Balkovich, and he is the only doctor that's really been able to make a huge difference with my health. And he dug deep with my labs and told me everything that was going on. And I was pretty messed up all the way down to like the cellular level. So I've been trying to rebuild my health, and I had to take a long training break, just because my body couldn't handle the exercise anymore. It was pulling energy from like brain function and digestion and all that just to support my exercise. So I had to slow down a lot on my training, and actually eat a lot more than I was normally used to, because I was used to cutting weight and eating like 800 calories while working out like 5 to 6 times a day. And that's not an exaggeration. So my health has been really bad, but it's gotten so much better in the past couple months. Like, I'm feeling so much better. I've been able to come back to training full time, and I've lost about 20 pounds in the last couple months. So like, my body's finally healing itself. So it's been a long, hard, and stressful and frustrating 2 years, but I'm finally healthy. Well, getting healthy again.
Yeah, it's cool with the amount of people obviously I communicate with and follow. Obviously, like I said, you and I have been connected for quite a few years now. It's cool to see the difference. And I commented to you the other day when we were chatting about setting up the interview, but just the difference in your overall healthiness, your smile, your confidence level is just night and day. And like you said, you and I got a chance to talk because I didn't know you were being on the show. It was funny because we were talking right up until that point. I was seeing disappeared. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And oh, by the way, I did the show. I couldn't talk about it. Here we go. So it was really cool to see the difference. But yeah, you could definitely tell the difference going into the show, where you're at mentally, physically. That break, I mean, like you said, when you came back, you were definitely depleted. You were not the same person you were going into it even. But just like I said, even when you talk about it, you light up. You have such a different persona around you that I think is the true essence of who you are. Again, our conversations that we've had over the years. So I think it's pretty cool. Like I said, obviously, my daughter kind of follows along a little bit, and obviously she was kind of bummed she couldn't be here for this one tonight. But I did tell her, yeah, we'd definitely come down and see it, because I told her, I said, yeah, we're going to go see Leah that fights and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, there's a girl that fights. And I remember the whole first initial reaction. I was like, yeah, honey, so if you ever want to learn how to beat up those boys at school, I'm sending you to Leah's. So that is, I would love for her to learn how to kick the crap out of boys. So, yeah, they're starting to come creeping, and it's like, nope, too young. 13 is, almost 13 is, nope. You got about 25 years, right?
Yeah, I can't date. A girl can't date till she's 30.
Good luck with that one.
No, I know.
Too funny. So let's see, what else do we have for Leah? So, what is the most embarrassing thing that's happened to you during your training or fighting in general?
Most embarrassing thing.
Did you like go across from a guy and be like, holy crap, he's really hot, I don't know what to do, or let one rip on somebody? I mean, what's your good story? She's like, shit, I'm proper.
I don't know. I don't know if I have any. I don't know if I don't have any embarrassing stories, or I've just repressed the memories, or what. I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't think of any like very embarrassing stories. I'm sure if Jake came on the show, he would be able to find something embarrassing to talk about.
Oh, believe me, when we come down, we're getting to Jake and Zach, so it will come out. So I just figured I'd opportunity to give it before they did. So it'll be like Willie the other week. It'll be like, hey, so speaking of that person, here they are. No. What advice would you give to any people like my daughter, or just anybody in general that would want to ever get into the UFC world, or just fighting in general, or MMA, or just training? What is your best advice for someone in that predicament?
my best advice is to just start training as soon as possible, because the only regret you're going to have is that you didn't start training sooner. And so if you're even thinking about it, or if you're hesitant or scared, I would say just go to your nearest MMA gym and sign up. And 99.9% of fighters are like the most supportive, nice people that you'll ever meet. It's not intimidating like a lot of people probably think it is. I mean, you guys have been to Pure Vita, you know how welcoming and warm it is.
All right.
Anyone can just walk in there and we're gonna welcome them with open arms. So, and I've been to several different MMA gyms and they're all very friendly and welcoming. So there's no reason to be hesitant or scared. I would just go sign up and just go for it.
Leah, there are plenty of reasons to be scared walking into a gym where people could literally kill you if they did something wrong. Just gonna throw
But there's
reasons.
I'm just saying that they're all very nice people, at least at Pure Vita. I can only speak for Pure Vita.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, Leah, if I end up finding a random gym and they beat the hell out of me, I'm gonna come find you and be like, no, this is not how Leah said this is supposed to go. You know, that's out there. So Leah, walk me through when you're not beating the crap out of people, when you're not doing the military thing. What is Leah Letson known for? Like, how would people describe you, and what do you like to do?
I'm known for being adventurous and athletic, and I like riding my motorcycle. That's probably my favorite thing to do in the whole world is ride my motorcycle. And then I just built an AR-15, and I like to shoot guns and stuff. So I've also liked skydiving and wakeboarding and rock climbing, pretty much anything athletic and outdoorsy. I like doing it.
So
Nice.
we know Montel likes to shoot too. Actually, quite a few of you guys down there. Who's a better shot, you or Montel?
That I don't know. We've only been shooting together once, and I don't think we were competing at that point. So I don't know. I didn't pay attention to what he was doing.
Leah, I don't buy that for a second because Montel and I already talked about how much cash we're going to throw down Monopoly. So I really have a hard time. I mean, he was comparing it, but being nice to you because this man talks so much shit off at camera during our interview that we were ready to throw down almost any kind of competition we could think of. Like, it could be spades, it could be Monopoly, it could be PS4. He literally said to me straight up, MD, I don't give a shit what it is. We're going to bet on whatever the hell we got. I don't care what it is. Like, I'm going to beat you. So.
Yeah, that sounds like him.
But no, I am definitely looking forward to that. I will be trying to stay the night down Milwaukee, and we will have an epic game night for sure.
That was definitely fun to listen to Montel tell his stories after we were done talking after interview. Like Mike said, or MD said that during the interview process with Montel, after it went off camera, he just opened up and then just spit up. That's what we got to the game night stuff and all that, and it was cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, we were literally there. We wrapped filming. I think it was like noon. We didn't get out of there until almost 2:30.
Yeah.
All the time in the world with us, talking about anything and everything, sharing behind the scenes stuff. What it's like on a UFC fight day was just crazy to really hear about like the attitude that can deflect onto others. If a guy just got his ass beat, then he brings it to the locker room, and you know, you're just there with the pillow curled up. I mean, what's your pre-fight routine like? Speaking of, we never got into that.
I was gonna say that.
Well, I'm a nervous wreck before a fight. Like, you can ask my coaches. I'm a complete like nervous wreck. I'm like shaking and like I'm pacing usually in the locker room. I'm listening to music to try to calm myself down, but I'm extremely anxious, and I'm always like asking my coaches like, am I ready for this? Can I do this? And they're like always reassuring me and stuff. It's like I am a completely different person right behind the scenes, and then as soon as I walk out to the cage, I'm nervous, but like I have adrenaline going and I'm like focused on what I have to do, and it's just like a complete change. And then as soon as we touch gloves and the fight starts, like all the nerves just go away and I'm just extremely focused on what I have to do. So before the show or before the fight, I'm like a nervous wreck, and then I just like go through these different phases where I'm like, okay, I'm nervous, but I'm walking out to the cage, so I got to put on like a brave face, and then when I get in the cage, like everything else disappears and I'm just focused on beating the crap out of the person in front of me.
Nice.
Say this, but I know a great life coach that can definitely help with some of that confidence thing going into it.
Jeez.
I didn't say me, Jeff, but
Yeah.
no, but that is one thing I was reading about. I can't remember whose bio it was, but they said honestly that was like one of the best things they can do for themselves. Is it's called rechanneling your you. So it talks about how you channel all your positivity, your courage, your effort into like one solid, like almost like a meditation state, which is pretty neat. So I know that's something that they talk about even for professional athletes of any level, not just UFC, but it's a big thing if you look a lot of the NFL top stars. It's a big thing that they do in terms of going into it. I think they said Tom Brady even struggled at one point. That was after 2 or 3 Super Bowls, even he got a life coach because he was still struggling with, that jitterness or that confidence going into it. And here's a guy that's won now 6 Super Bowls. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So it's not for the hard, Jeff. It's not just a shameless plug, but it's a thing that, even I struggle with it now being back in school. I mean, it's just one of those things where once in a while it's like, I really don't want to do this homework. I don't think I can do it. And all of a sudden I'm knocking out 3 5-page papers in an hour. It's just kind of cool and something different. What is your go-to fight song?
Phenomenal by Eminem. It's from the movie Southpaw, and it's perfect because I am a Southpaw, and I love that song.
Okay.
It gets me pumped up every time.
So you're not rocking the T-Swift or anything, are you?
No.
Leah, that number one. That shit I'd be a little uncertain too. That's good. Good. We got step number 1 out of the way, so it is not T-Swift's fault. How fast could you put down Taylor Swift? Sorry, speaking of, since I brought up her name. It's a fair question.
This is a really weird hypothetical fight. I don't like hate her enough to like want to like hit her and just knock her out, but I mean I'm pretty sure I could hit her with one punch and knock her out.
Okay, who's your I hate celebrity? If you could knock anyone's ass out, who would it be besides me or Jeff? I'm ADHD. I don't know why this comes as a shock for you. You knew this interview was gonna be anything but standard. Let's be real.
Yeah, that's true. Trying to think. Man, I can't even think of the actors I hate right now.
Did you knock Tom Brady out for me?
Oh, him. Yes, him. I would love to be his
Brady.
Who?
I hate Tom Brady.
Speaking of that, they're getting their butt kicked right now by the Giants.
Good. That's what I like to hear.
All right, what about your female? Like, what female do you just see and instantly like, I don't like her face. There's something about it. I just don't like her face. Or something about her demeanor.
Brady's wife.
Miley Cyrus.
That's a good one, too. Probably Tom Brady's wife.
Leah, I would expect more from you. Like, something like. Come on. Don't disappoint me now, Leah. I was so amped for this interview. Now
Not disappointed. I'd love to see that.
Probably that Tommy Lauren chick from the Fox News or whatever her name is. I don't know what her last name is. Tommy Lauren, something like that. She annoys me. Every time she talks, she annoys me.
There you go. See, now we're getting somewhere, Jeff. You just got to dig. Let's see. I had a good one, too, now. Shoot. All right, Jeff, your turn. Go. I'll think of something.
You put me on the spot now. Let's see.
All right, Leah. Celebrity crush going up. Who was it?
Celebrity crush. Now Mike's going with these.
All over.
Growing up?
Sure.
Zac Efron.
Okay. High School Musical or?
Yeah.
See?
Actually, I have an embarrassing story. So I went out for basketball my 8th grade year because of High School Musical.
How did you do?
What?
How did you do?
I was not good at basketball. I'm not a team sports kind of person.
It's all right. Although Leah, I'm not trying to say you should take this into consideration, but remember, a guy named Michael Jordan once got cut from basketball, and he turned out to be the best ever.
True. I'm not a ball sports person. I don't like team sports either. I don't like to have to depend on a team or have a team depend on me. I like individual sports where I can just rely on myself.
Okay.
Speaking of that, are you a LeBron or a Jordan fan?
Just gonna go with that. Wrong
Jordan.
solo, so
Jordan.
turn it up.
Jordan. He
I gotta-
completely changed the game. I mean, no one doesn't know who Michael Jordan is, and he hasn't been playing for a long time. So he completely changed the face of basketball. So he's a legend, and I'm sorry, but LeBron's never gonna be that.
Yeah, LeBron is just a wine bag, man. He wins about everything.
Yeah.
I can't respect that guy.
All right, Leah, the most famous person you ever got to meet, or like your wow celebrity moment, who would it be?
Dana White.
Okay.
I mean, meeting him and having dinner with him after the show, I was trying not to fangirl the entire time. It was awesome. I remember the whole conversation that we had. He told me about he has a place up in Maine that he has ATVs and dirt bikes and motorcycles, and he likes to go shooting. And I was like, well, we should be friends. He's like, we already are friends. And then he gave me a fist bump, and it was the coolest moment of my life.
Nice. Oh, Mike gone.
On me now. Uh-oh. I said, is he married then, Leah, or is there a shot that you can be moving to Chateau des Maines of...
No, not like that. No.
Leah White?
Now our next guy.
I
You never know. You always got to... He might watch.
No. I got a boyfriend, and I'm good with that.
All right, let's see. What else do we have for you? Favorite sports team growing up?
Packers.
Okay. Who's your favorite player of all time?
That's a hard question.
Who was your first?
It was Brett Favre when I was a kid, and then I hated him because he went to the Vikings eventually, and so now I don't know. Let's see.
What jerseys have you all?
I was a Charles Woodson fan.
See what?
I was a Charles Woodson fan. I had a Woodson jersey. He was 21, so that's my lucky number. So that was I liked him, but he also is not on the Packers anymore. So.
Okay. Do you watch a lot of football anymore, or are you kind of more of a Because you're busy.
I started watching it a lot more this year, but I watched it all the time growing up and when I was in college. But then the more I got into MMA, the more I just I could take it or leave it. But now I'm starting to get more back into football just because of the pandemic. There's not much else to do.
How close did you ever get to picking up the sport of golf, Leah? How bored did you almost get to the point where you got to that point?
I didn't get to that point. No. I have a gym in my basement, and I was able to lift weights and stuff like that. So I never got to the point where I was going to take up golf or anything like that.
Okay. So she didn't hit that depression state, so that's good. I'm glad to hear it. No. Let's see. What else do we have? There's got to be something. It's weird because, like I said, we talk all the time, so I'm trying to think of something that, we haven't ever talked about before that I can bring up. But, man, I don't know. Lots of good stuff so far. Predictions for the rest of the Packers season, Leah, since we brought up the Packers. How are they going to do?
I don't know. Apparently, if I watch them, they do terrible. So maybe I should just not watch them.
You're done. We'll
Because
text you.
I
Let's go.
was watching on Sunday, and I was extremely frustrated and disappointed in that one. We started out strong, and then our defense was not helping at all.
Yeah.
I mean, you're trained in tackling people. Why don't you come on over to 1265? We'll get you a deal.
Yeah, no crap.
I mean, they're going to get all the PR in the world, and they don't have to worry about you being a freaking psycho. So, I mean, there's that.
There's that. No, I think it's hard to say. I think they're going to finish the season strong. I mean, I want to believe that they're going to finish the rest of the season strong and not have any more games like they did against the Vikings, but I don't know. It seems like they kind of fell apart after their bye week.
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping that they're going to have some running backs available this week. Oh,
Yeah.
man. Dylan's out with COVID, and it doesn't sound good for the rest of the running backs. Sounds like they're all going to be on the list.
Ugh.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Well,
so I don't know if we're going to do a running back.
so Jeff, Dewan said he's ready to go. So, I mean,
hey,
you know,
whatever, man. Dewan can go out there and play just as good as those guys, I think.
right? You got Leah throwing chop blocks and karate kicks at people. We'll be all set.
Leah can be the fullback. Dewan at tailback.
Oh, man. Too funny. Well, Leah, I think we'll end it here for you for tonight. Obviously, we're going to keep you on for many more shows to come. Obviously, hopefully we can get rocking and rolling on a Pure Vita episode soon once all this crap works out. I'm hoping now that when this airs, the election is over, and hopefully we can go back to that miracle cure is here. You know, I hate to say that considering you had to be on the front lines of it. Hopefully, you stay healthy yourself, and thank you for all you've done, both with that and then just in general, with all that you've done. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
American citizen side of things. So thanks for doing all this stuff. Jeff and I are too big of wussies to do.
It'd be nice to get you guys all around the table and just hear some of these stories. That'd be a hell of a show. I think we get pretty good amount of views there.
Oh my God, that would be fun.
Yeah.
Because the special part is talking to all you guys individually, and then obviously somewhat together the day we were there. And obviously, I said you were in Vegas training, but I think a lot of fun stories would definitely come out, as Jeff said. A lot of, I forgot all about this or that, or no, don't tell it. And I think everybody's pretty cool. And like you said, everyone has that confidence it takes in order to sit across from someone that could ultimately murder them. So,
It's definitely on the Sconni Sports bucket list. We got to get you guys together and just hear the stories on air. It could be fun.
Oh my gosh. Jake and Zach would have so many stories about me. It's ridiculous.
Leah, I don't know how you feel about this, but I think putting you, Montel, and like two other people with Jeff in a cage for 3 minutes each and see choke out. You said
each.
Yeah. She said she put a guy out 5 times, so 4 is nuts.
Oh man.
Jeff, put it this way. I can't get hurt because no one else can put the show together, so you're kind of the only guinea pig, man. Sorry. Learn how to do it, and then
I'll find somebody. We'll put a Sconni. We'll get a whatever you call them, a dummy.
All right. Well, Leah, I want to thanks again for joining Jeff and I tonight. We greatly appreciate it. If people want to find you on social media, where should they look?
On Facebook, it's Nidas Letson, and then at Nidas MMA on Instagram and Twitter.
And that's Nidas, N as in Nancy, IDAS, correct?
Yes, correct.
Cool. We'll make sure we get it right. We'll put a link down below, obviously, in the show. And like I said, we'll have this available everywhere, so we can't wait for everyone to tune in. And like Jeff said, can't wait to get everybody together finally in our big extended family with Pura Vida. We love you guys, and thanks for jumping on the show with us tonight.
Yeah,
thank you so much for having me.
Of course. You enjoy the rest of your night. We'll talk soon.
All right.
Thanks.
My darn mouse won't work. Hang on.